Welcome back, my fellow citizens of Reclast, and today it's not like the build guide, but some kind of the concept, the idea that was really smooth and accurate on paper, but I can't say it doesn't work. It works very well. For the budget, it's the insane variant of how armor stacking can interact with the game, but the problem is that we are suffering of two things: strong degens, because life recovery is nuts and is the key to a smooth gameplay in Path of Exile, and we do not have it here as in my previous version of armor stacking, which was I think 5 leagues ago. And the second thing is stun immunity, but this problem can be solved easily, and as you can see here, we are fighting some Righteous Fire unique boss, and it's a little bit clunky, because we always should take care of damage over time hits us. The basic idea of the build was to use Transcendence and to stack armor, and here we have around 700,000 to 900,000 armor. It's enough to deal with any kind of elemental hits. We utilize chaos inoculation, so we don't care about chaos damage, and for physical damage reduction purposes I've chosen the thing that I haven't ever seen that anyone did before. So it's just pure physical damage reduction stacking, and we always have 90% physical damage reduction uptime. And the only problem with it is that some mobs can do such powerful hits, and even 10% of the damage can be painful for us. As you can see here with the Chimera boss, which has really bad modes on the map. I was trying to build around the Precursor's emblem two rings with additional physical damage reduction for Frenzy Charge, and in combination with Endurance Charges we have 90% physical damage reduction. Still, for the budget it's really insane. Anyone who can afford around 2 or 3 Divine build, it's for you. You should try it, but not try to do it from the very beginning, because I've tested it and it's a really pain in the ass to level up with it, because as soon as we can have our replica Dream Feathers equipped, and it's from I think level 68 till level 90, it's very important to have all the nodes on the tree allocated. But without them, mapping and leveling becomes a real nightmare. Let's go to the idea itself. We are Slayer. Yeah, it's Transcendence armor stacking Slayer, because we utilize Frenzy and Power charges. And the main thing is to get damage from our Frenzy charges and physical damage reduction from Frenzy and Endurance charges. We also use Impact for accuracy and damage purposes, and also for the clear speed. And we take some damage note, Bane of the Legends and Headsman for Calvin Strike and additional movement speed while mapping. And as we are Aero Stacker and we use Haste, we also have a good amount of movement speed. The tree is weird, and for some kind of stacking build it's always weird. And the important thing of this build is, as we are Aero Stacker and armor stacking character, we do not use even a single cluster jewel. Yeah, we use one, but it's for the defensive purposes, and it's just for additional physical damage reduction. So we use Transcendence, the keystone, and we better take the Jewel with elemental resistances and effect of non-curse auras. It's very cheap, so we use Frenzy Charges throughout the tree, 1 anointed and 2 we grab on the tree itself. We use Masterful Form on the Slayer's Ascendancy. Also, we use such keystones as Chaos Inoculation, the Ghost River for Energy Leech, and to double it, it interacts as the Wild Pact. Also, we need to use the Owl's Oath for additional life regeneration. Yeah, and I didn't have it, so I didn't have the Energy Shield regeneration. Also, Elemental Overload for additional damage, and we use 2 Precursor's Emblem. And this ring allows us to have additional physical damage reduction for a Frenzy Charge that we have. The other modes are not that important, but if you have some increased armor or evasion per endurance or per Frenzy Charge, it would be great. And these rings cost not more than 100 chaos each, even with the corruption. So it's very cheap because no one really uses these modifiers. We also use dark vectors for additional frenzy charge, increased evasion per frenzy charge, and ceaseless fist gloves. It has the +2 maximum frenzy charge corruption, and also helps us sustaining our frenzy and endurance charges, and we always have them even in boss fights. We also have additional chance to gain endurance and frenzy charge on the tree, but it's only on kill modifier, and if you do not want to reswap the boots for Relicash Impatience, it's really inconvenient. I don't like such kind of gameplay. So for me, it's better to take this Ceaseless Fist instead of the Hands of the High Templar. Hands of the High Templar are insane gloves for this build, +2 frenzy charge, curse on hit, and some kind of +2 or even +4 to our gems. It's insane amount of defenses and damage, but I'm here for the comfortable play. That's why I've chosen the Ceaseless Fist gloves. We use the new amulet for +3 to elemental hit gems, and also it has useful reservation efficiency, basic replica dream feathers, and we do not care about the amount of physical damage. We only care about attack speed, so they're really cheap, around 50 or maybe 80 chaos each. The helmet is really basic, just for reservation. We grab the base of Hybrid Circlet for grace or purity of elements or determination, reservation efficiency, and then just essence spam for increased mana reservation efficiency. And when we hit accuracy or maybe intelligence or any stats we want, we just stop and then add the Sirenic Zag implicit, and we also can use Orb of Conflict to increase the amount of mana reservation efficiency. So it's always very cheap to craft, not more than 1 divine, I think. We use such arrows as Discipline, Haste, Determination, Grace, Defiance Banner, Belt, just with stats we lack, maybe Strength, some Armor, Life Regeneration, increased flask charges gained, and increased flask effect, as we use all kinds of flasks for armor and evasion, and also the silver flask for onslaught and attack speed. We also want to enchant these flasks with on-use effects, such as used when the charges reach full, or maybe in the end of the flask, or maybe when we hit a unique or rare enemy. So it's up to you what enchantment we should use. King of the Lords, pretty cheap armor. It's always 6-link. You just take the color of the sockets that you need. There are many variants here. We can use also Energy Leech. We can use Trinity Support, damage on full life, Ruthless, Hypothermia. So any, maybe Elemental Focus, but Elemental Focus is not really good for the Elemental Heat, so I would pass it. And the basic links can be Elemental Heat, Elemental Damage with attacks, damage on full life, Awakened Ancestral Call, Fortify, Multi-Strike, all that you can choose and all you can afford. Here you can see how we can sustain our endurance and frenzy charges, but it's not really comfortable. That's why I recommend the Ceaseless Fist gloves. About the keystone on the Skin of the Lords, I prefer Divine Shield, but it's not that cheap at the beginning, so you can also grab it on the tree and sacrifice some nodes, but you can also leave and even without the Divine Shield, so it doesn't really matter. Here are the links that I've taught you before. Some Molten Shell with Ancestral Protector, Ancestral Law Chief, multiple totems, Sleep Slam, faster attacks, pretty basic stuff. Some Jewel in our belt with reservation efficiency and accuracy, and maybe armor while stationary. We also use the Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flash for the champions node for additional aura effect, and to help our banners not to reserve mana. Watcher's Eye with some additional physical damage reduction while affected by determination, and maybe energy shield recovery rate while affected by discipline. It's very cheap too, I think 50 chaos, maybe 60, maybe another Abyss Jewel. Also we can have cannot be stunned corruption on the our Abyss Jewels, 50% chance to avoid being stunned, and it solves one our problem, and we still have the problem of strong degens and strong damage over time. We also use Thread of Hope for the purpose of leech, of mana and life leech, and we also want to use 2 nodes for endurance and frenzy charges sustain. That's why we have this Thread of Hope here, and the amount of resistance that we have allows us to do that, because we do not have too many resistances on the gear. So what's about the price? Both replica Dream Feathers cost me maybe 50 or 60 chaos. Then I've made an enchantment on one of them and tried to corrupt it, but I didn't have anything good from that. The base of the helmet is 10 chaos, maybe some essences, and if you are lucky, you won't spend a lot more than the divine. The replica Dragon's Fangs Flight is around maybe 50 chaos. 2 rings, 80 to 100 chaos each. Scissors Fist with the corruption, maybe 50 chaos. The belt is 50-60 chaos too. The price of Dark Ray Vectors varies from time to time, but with this enchantment it's around 100 chaos, and the body armor is affected by the color of the sockets. The Divine Shield is a bit more expensive than other variants, but this one I got maybe for 2 divines, but if you are lucky you can grab it even for 1, so the overall budget of the build is not more than 4, maybe 5 divines. And let's look at more min-maxed version, the template on which was the whole build based. As you can see here, the gear is pretty much the same. We also grab additional nodes here for some clear speed. We would like to have the splash on the tree, and we grabbed some energy shield nodes, and also we applied tattoos here. They're really expensive, so every tattoo for effect of non-curse auras costs maybe 100 chaos, and it's not about this build because we spent only 5d1s on it, and the purpose was to check, is armor stacking possible on such a tight budget of 5 divines, and it does its job really good. You do not need to expect very much from it, because still we can die from massive physical damage when the 10% from the reduction is still higher than our energy shield pool, but still it's worth trying. It can be alive. The variant that I have in the current version is pretty much the same as I have in the POB, except for the tattoos. And you see here that we have some kind of good amount of effective life pool according to POB. We have such Pantheon for physical damage reduction while stationary and regeneration while stationary, and also we grab some Solaris or Lunaris node, whichever you want, for physical damage reduction and maybe movement speed or avoiding damage or less elemental damage taken. So that's all for today. I hope you liked the concept. Like, subscribe, leave your comments in the commentary section, and see you next time. Goodbye.